State Street, that great street.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you, George. That's right on theme. We've got Alderman Jason Ervin here in studio with us. You're listening to Get Down to Business, the show that is all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And Alderman Ervin, you deal a lot with business every day, don't you?
Yes, we do. So thank you for having me on the show, Shalom. We're glad to be here. Business is the business of business is our business.
That's right. So, Alderman Ervin, you represent the 28th Ward of the city of Chicago. Which communities is that?
So that's on the west side of Chicago. So I have the communities of Austin, East and West Garfield Park, as well as the West Loop, parts of the West Loop area, North Lawndale, and parts of what was traditionally known as Little Italy. So got 7 different communities in the ward, great diversity. I could not, as an alderman, ask for anything less. It's a great, great place.
And as a business community, because after all, we are talking about business today, you've got some interesting, as you said, diverse communities. You've got a little bit of everything. I
actually do. You know, we're home to CineSpace Film Studios, which is right now one of the hottest film studios in the country. They do Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, the new hit on Fox, Empire, and there are a couple of pilots coming in next year. And also we have one of the hottest breweries in the city of Chicago in Lagunitas, which has just come in and done gangbusters in their business with the tap room and giving people a great opportunity to see Chicago. And it's now, it's become basically a tourist attraction where we get people coming in all times of the afternoon and into the evening to come over to the brewery.
So you and I actually met a few years ago as we started talking about how small businesses can get more city contracting opportunities. And that was our first conversation. And I have to say, I meet with a lot of public officials, and you and I, we followed through on that. We've talked about it. We've tried to make things happen. Is there hope for small businesses that want to do business with the city of Chicago? Because there are a lot of contracts out there.
Yes, I mean, there is, and there must be hope for small businesses. As you know, the job growth in America is going to come from the small business community. And what I do not want to see, we don't want to see where you have big business and a guy pushing a cart. And that's kind of a direction, if we don't act and do things, that's where we will head, because you have all of these conglomerates and everyone's buying up everything and to make these huge mega corporations. But we still need to get back to the bare basics of entrepreneurship. And that's what I support in my community. And I'm looking to bring more smaller businesses into the ward because we have such a diverse base, and with the housing opportunities, it'll also create economic opportunity.
Like all 50 aldermen across the city of Chicago, over the next month, you've got an election coming up. And yes, elections are a good opportunity, I say, for a conversation, for people to get to know you, for people to talk about the issues. So my question for you, Alderman, is for a small business, for a really small business, what I would call a micro business, a business that has 1 or 2 people, would you support some sort of a fast track for those businesses to get the permits that they need to get into business and possibly even to get some of those city contracts?
Of course, because, again, as I tell people before, you don't want to spend your time at City Hall jumping through the maze of trying to get a license. I think that the more time you spend at City Hall, the less time you spend out making money and creating revenues and creating jobs. So I'm definitely in favor of creating a system that would streamline business opportunities and actually the licensing process for businesses. And I think we've made some steps in that direction because now businesses are risk categorized. So, for example, if you have what's considered to be a high-risk business, of course, you have to jump through a few more hoops, especially those that deal in quick serve food and other things where potential hazards to the community at large may occur. Those are high-risk businesses. But you have some businesses that really are fairly low risk. A guy's opening up a shop with 1 or 2 employees is fairly low risk unless they're handling something that could pose a danger to the community. So in those aspects, we definitely want to see less red tape so that people can get on to doing what they need to do. I owned a small business for a number of years. I still consider myself a small business person as a CPA, practicing CPA. So I think that it's incumbent upon us to make sure that process is as simple as possible.
I say this almost every week on the show, and I comment all the time that people, you can debate the tax environment in the state of Illinois. You can talk about the regulatory environment and the bureaucracy that goes on. And there, you and I both know there is bureaucracy, and I know that you're fighting to hopefully get rid of that. But at the same time, I'd say the best thing going for the city of Chicago, as you heard from the song that we came into, is the people. It's the people of the city of Chicago that make the city great, make it so easy to do business.
Well, I would live nowhere else. I love Chicago, born, bred here in the city of Chicago. I've only spent 4 years away from Chicago, and that was when I was in college, and I didn't leave the state, so I went to Southern Illinois University. So I love Chicago, and being a part of a great institution and the fabric of a community, and the business community is a part of that. So we cannot solely rely on, or as I would say, just beat up on business to get what needs to happen. As the mayor has even stated, there's shared sacrifice for all. And in this tax environment, I know it's going to be some difficult times ahead if we do not get the type of relief we need from the legislature. So while I do hope that relief does come, but it need not be balanced heavily to one end or the other, meaning that to the end of business or to the end of residents and property taxpayers. So we have to make sure there's an adequate balance so everyone can take that shared sacrifice and pain and move forward.
So we're talking with Alderman Jason Ervin. You could call us with your questions at 312-642-5600. Alderman, so what committees do you sit on in the city council, and what change do you hope will happen if the residents of the 20th Ward elect you to another term this February?
Well, the committees I sit on finance, budget, economic capital and technology development, and I sit on the transportation and pedestrian and traffic safety committees. And my final committee is on education and child development. So I sit on 6 committees. And I pray that I had to run and joke in my house is that my wife, she has to go vote tomorrow or on Tuesday to elect me, because I'm actually running unopposed for my second term as alderman in the 28th Ward. So it's incumbent upon my wife to go out and put me back into office, because I won't get a chance to vote until Election Day. So it's been it's a wonderful opportunity. It does give us an opportunity to actually go out and help some of my colleagues that are in some tougher races, and that's what we've been doing with our time and just working very hard. We have some talented people in the city council that we want to keep, and there's some people that are going to be coming in because we've had some retirements, especially on the west side of Chicago. So we're working with candidates, working with a young man, Michael Scott Jr. in the 24th Ward on the west side, and as well as the incumbents in the 29th, 37th, and 27th Wards.
And with a new governor, with a new administration down in Springfield, do you anticipate a good working relationship, a good ability to get things done? Realizing it is a different party, but I hope the people that will listen and people that will collaborate.
Well, at the end of the day, you have to. I mean, it's a process. The people in the state of Illinois have elected a governor from a party that's different than that of the legislature. So, of course, in order for things to happen, there will need to be some compromise. There will need to be some negotiations to take place. The irony of all of that is, as the executive branch executes everything or can sit back and do nothing. And that's going to be an interesting challenge to see how Governor Rauner makes those adjustments, because the legislature may give him something that he doesn't like, but he also could choose to not do anything. But we hope that the state does not come to a standstill over the partisan activities, but that we are crafting a plan and an agenda that's going to move all the communities in the state forward. And I hope that the legislative leaders in Springfield and the governor can craft a solution that works for all of us.
We got to work together. That's how good things happen. That's what the voters want to see clear. I think that was a message that was sent. Work together, make things happen. Otherwise, you know what? We've got some tough decisions to make in the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois. So, Alderman Ervin, you were appointed in 2011 and elected to a full term, and now you're running for another full term. And as he said, if your wife votes for you, I hope she will. Then you're in for another 4 years. Is there a higher office that you have in mind?
You know what? People have asked me that before, and at the end of the day, my responsibility is to serve the constituents who elected me. If an opportunity that comes up that people would like to see me in, I'm sure my constituents, as well as those outside of my immediate ward, will let me know of that. I have no immediate plans of doing anything else. So I love the job that I have. I love the communities that I serve, and I love my ward. So my job every day is to go out and find solutions to challenges that are posed to us all the time, and also go out and find problems and solve them. So that's what we do on a daily basis. And it's one of the few jobs in the world that I think this is where the rubber meets the road, where you have direct contact with constituents and you can problem solve. I don't think the congressman gets the same thing or the state reps get it, or even our county commissioners, because the first call in Chicago you make is to your alderman. So that's where the rubber meets the road.
That's for sure. And we're going to continue the conversation with Alderman Jason Ervin of the 28th Ward of the City of Chicago after a few quick messages. Get Down to Business is powered by Tandem HR, your solution center. You can find them at tandemhr.com and pick up the phone. Give them a call at 630-928-0510. That phone number is, again, 630-928-0510. You can also email them, simplify@tandemhr.com. At the end of the show, you won't want to touch this dial because I'm going to be sharing some tips on how you can improve your business writing skills. You're listening to the show that's all about small business. You're listening to Get Down to Business.
So there's been a